Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Federal Executive Council agrees to pull Nigeria out of 90 international organizations in order to save costs and avoid embarrassment. National Judicial Council appoints former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Ayo Salami, as chairman of the committee set up to try looters of the economy. House of Representatives summons Controller General of Customs and DSS Chief over influx of small arms and light weapons into the country. And South African unions protest against President Jacob Zuma's continued stay in office amidst high-level corruption allegations.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's Debt Management Office raises over 200 billion naira bond auction for more demand for the country's debt instrument by investors.
On sports news, the Nigeria Basketball Federation, the NBBF, lifts indefinite sanctions imposed on Dodon Warriors, Lagos Islanders and Union Bank.
And from Abuja, IPOB lawyer Ifeanyi Ejiofor asked Army Chief Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court.
Nigeria will pull out of 90 world organizations as part of plans to relieve the country of heavy financial commitments. The decision formed the crux of discussions at the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja today. Now, this means that the country would only be a part of international organizations considered necessary by the government. Nigeria currently owes the organizations more than $100 million, and failure to meet the obligations has become an embarrassment. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports.
The meeting looked at two dominant issues, beginning with the outing of the president at the just concluded United Nations General Assembly. Various aspects of the president's speech in New York came under scrutiny, and the council came to this conclusion.
All in all, it was an extremely successful outing. Mr. President was able, during his address, to demonstrate that Nigerian leadership at the global and African level is very much here again.
For those who hold the view that the president did not speak to issues that concern his country, Mr. Onyema has this to say.
I think that it will be missing the point to somehow believe that he was just addressing issues that somehow were not of relevance to Nigeria. On the contrary, they were very relevant to Nigeria.
Basically, the revelation that Nigeria is a member of 310 international organizations, a development the administration is unhappy about. The government responded by setting up an interministerial committee to review the country's membership of some of the organizations.
In particular, there was a dispute as to the figure of how much is owed. The committee had a figure of about $122 million, but we are clear from the Ministry of Finance and other ministries that it's far more than that.
The committee found out that Nigeria's commitment and obligations as a result of the membership is about $120 million. Ultimately, the nation reportedly spends about $70 million annually. Hence, the recommendation that Nigeria should exit 90 organizations.
In many cases, we are not actually paying our financial obligations and subscriptions. And in particular, it was discussed that there are some commitments made to international organizations, even by, well, not by this president, but by former presidents, which were not cash backed. So when our delegations then turn up at those organizations, we become very embarrassed.
Exiting these organizations, agreements or commitment would certainly generate interest among Nigerians in days to come, especially when the list of 90 organizations is made available. There would also be questions as to what are the terms of exiting these organizations. Does it come with some financial obligations? Are there likely diplomatic implications that go with this? Now, these are some of the questions that the committee will be looking to address as it lays its report before the Federal Executive Council meeting in 2 weeks' time. In all, however, the administration is confident this is the right step, even if it's to stop Nigeria from further embarrassment. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
The former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Ayo Salami, now has a new national assignment. He's just been appointed as the chairman of the committee set up by the National Judicial Commission to try looters of the Nigerian economy. His appointment comes on the heels of the decision by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge, to set up a corruption and financial crimes cases trial monitoring committee. The 15-man committee is expected to, among other things, monitor and evaluate proceedings at designated courts for financial and economic crimes nationwide. The committee will also designate one or more courts as special courts solely for the purpose of hearing and speedily determining corruption and financial crimes cases in their various jurisdictions. Members of the committee are the Chief Justices of Borno, Imo, Delta and Oyo states. Others are former NBA presidents Wole Olanipekun, Olisa Agbakoba, Joseph Daudu and Augustine Alege. And in a bid to curb the influx of small arms and light weapons into the country, the House of Representatives has resolved to invite heads of the Nigerian Customs Service and the Department of State Security to brief the House on plans to address the menace of small arms and light weapons. The House is also urging the two agencies and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation to speed up investigations into the shipment of arms and commence prosecutions of culprits involved. Our correspondent Larry Lassisi reports.
These are some of the weapons illegally imported into the country, intercepted by officials of the Nigerian Customs Service. This is just one in a string of such seizures by the service. This lawmaker in the House of Representatives believes urgent steps must be taken by the federal government to curb the trend.
Worried that the recent firearms seizure, which is second in this month and fourth in 2017, will appear to suggest that the syndicate behind the influx of firearms into the country has stepped up their nefarious trade with far-reaching consequences for our dear nation, as firearms and light weapons are the lifeblood of organized crimes and criminality.
Other lawmakers support this motion with these contributions.
So if you do a simple mathematics, you will see that what they have confiscated is close to 80 billion naira. It tells us the magnitude of what we are facing. Who are the suppliers of these arms and who are the people importing these arms?
So while all the other countries have NATCOMs, commissions against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, Nigeria only has a committee. And it is because we have a committee and we are not on the same level as the other countries that we're able to engage with them and speak about the flow of these arms from other countries.
The House finally resolved to invite heads of the Nigerian Customs Service and the Directorate of State Security to brief the House on plans to address the issue of small arms and light weapons. The House is also urging the two agencies and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation to speed up investigation into the shipment of arms and commence prosecution of the culprits involved. Meanwhile, in the Senate, the same issue is being considered. The lawmakers are considering a bill seeking to amend the Firearms Act to provide for the destruction of arms illegally imported into the country.
There is no provision for destruction of illegal firearms once it has been intercepted. I'm convinced that some of these arms might find their way back into the market without negative consequences.
The Senate President throws his weight behind the bill.
I think apart from fines and destructions, there are other things that we can look at. We must begin to even look at those that actually bring them into the countries, so that the agents, the shipping agents, what laws do we have to control those kind of issues? But I think this is a great opportunity. I hope at the public hearing, a lot of work will be done so we can have a robust law that will put us ready for being able to tackle these troublesome issues. Thank you.
The bill has scaled second reading and has been referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. Lanre Lassese, Channels Television News.
To security matters of a different nature, the Lagos State government is moving to speed up the investigation of crime and enhance justice delivery with the inauguration of a DNA forensic center. The center, which is believed to be the first in West Africa, is proof of the state government's resolve to adopt advanced technology to fight crime. The forensic center is located in the heart of the Lagos Central Business District.
DNA Forensic Center is a demonstration of our resolve to stay ahead of criminals through scientific-led investigations. The building in which we're gathered today has capacity to provide the police, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and private citizens with crime scene processing, serological screening for blood and semen, DNA analysis of bone, teeth, and hair, maternal and paternal relationship DNA analysis, expert witness and case handling services, paternal and maternal ancestry DNA analysis, cold case file review, and mass disaster human identification. However, the commissioner of this center is only the first step towards building a comprehensive forensic program that can fully support the administration of justice system in Lagos State.
The work that they're doing here is very impressive in installing a world-class DNA and forensic center in the heart of Lagos, the first in Nigeria, the first in West Africa. I mean, in the work you are doing will better equip Lagos and other parts of Nigeria to deal with these serious social challenges in new and more efficient ways.
The Inspector General of Police has ordered an immediate investigation into the recent attack at the palace of the paramount ruler of Ibadan land in Oyo State. While conducting an on-the-spot assessment of the palace, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 11, Agbola Oshodi Glover, offered assurances that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi has summoned all service chiefs in the state over the attack.
Adjoining streets leading to the palace of the Olubadan of Ibadan land at Popoye Moja area of the town manned by armed policemen. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 11, Agbola Oshodi Glover, arrives in company of the Oyo State Commissioner of Police. Their mission is to allay fears of the residents concerning insecurity across the city.
Definitely security will be beefed up here, and more importantly, those miscreants who did that will be fished out and they will be taken to the court for proper law justice to take its course. No stone will be left unturned. The policemen are on high alert, and the citizens should be rest assured that they are safe. And we are also calling on the citizens, those who saw what happened and those who have information, to let the police have them, to help us in getting to the root of all this.
And at the governor's office in Agodi, security chiefs have been summoned to discuss better ways to prevent a recurrence of the shooting that took place some days ago during an installation ceremony at the palace of Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Saliu Adetunji. Afterwards, the governor's special advisor on security tells journalists that the era of violence will not be tolerated in the state.
The government will not allow anyone or group, irrespective of status, religion, or political affiliation or leaning, to take us back to the dark days when Ibadan and the unenviable tag of a garrison command through the unscrupulous activities of these incorrigible elements.
Perhaps the intervention of the federal security forces will reinforce the capacity of law enforcement agencies to deal with the tensions that have resulted into violence across Oyo State.
In part 2, after the break, Fate Foundation alumni meets in Lagos, discusses new ways of exploring business opportunities through partnership and innovation. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.